Thank you all for joining. We are starting in another 2 minutes, please. We are waiting for some more people to join. Good afternoon all. My name is Vimal Kumar from Finovista. So I think we should start the program. Most of the people have joined and we are waiting some more people to join. So I would like to invite Mr. Pathak from the Department of Telecom to inaugurate the session, talk about the DOT funding schemes which they are planning to launch, and they have already launched like 5G hackathon or not. And then we'll proceeding for the next speaker. Yes, Mr. Pathak.
So good afternoon to all the participants, and I'm sure that you along with your family both are in high speed and keeping well. Okay, that's very much important before this meeting also. So today's workshop is on technology transfer and government funding opportunity. So let me clarify that this is the first effort by us, and in this series we will be sharing. So during the pandemic, it is the telecom sector which has been up and running. Lot of investment will be required in this sector. So today's our event is first in that direction, that how to make Atmanirbhar Bharat. What are the various schemes by the government departments and other institutions. So today we will be covering government funding opportunity. And I would like to thank all the very distinguished speakers from CSIR. Dr. Meenakshi Singh is here, and Sri Rahul Kulshrestha from Gita Funding Program, and more importantly from my colleague Dr. Ajay Garg. I don't know whether he has joined or not. He promised that he will come, because MeitY has a number of schemes to fund startups. So I'm sure that we will all discuss together, because this will be a, one can say, interactive session. So even all the participants, I will request that as a part of this initiative, share their problems being faced in the funding also, because Department of IT, DPIIT says that they have a lot of startup schemes. Each department has some scheme, but even NITI Aayog has a lot of schemes. But why this is not translating into the reality? So it's very important that we share under this platform, such that, and subsequently we represent also to them, such that whatever changes are necessary, we can work with those government departments. As far as Department of Telecommunication is concerned, for the first time we have started some work on 5G hackathon. So otherwise hackathon was never a concept in Department of Telecommunication. We have in fact invited, we will be funding about 2.5 crore. And this 5G hackathon, in the brief, let me say that will be rewarding 100 applicants which have submitted 5G relevant use cases. This all the 100 will be hand-holded, supported, mentored, which will take them to stage 2 development process of about 2 months. And then after 2 months, we will shortlist again 30. This 30 will be again rewarded. First 10, 5 lakhs, then 4 lakhs, next 10, and the next 10, 3 lakhs. This all the 30 will be, in fact, go for the technology trials. So there will be online one live technology trial. So they will all the eligible for participation along with the telecom service providers. In addition to this, out of 33, best will be shortlisted and will be awarding them 10 lakhs each. So total there is a reward of 2.5 crores spread over about 6 months. And for the first time, DOT has started such type of initiatives. There is another initiative, that is, we call it Digital Communication Innovation Square. This is a scheme approved under the champion sector, during which we have a grant funding of 104 crore spread over a period of 3 years. Again, this will be to startup, but here we will be working with the existing incubation center within the country. DOT won't be setting up any new incubation center, but if possible, then we will augment existing incubation center, and then all this maybe more than 100 startups will be handholded through Department of Telecommunication scheme. So I think with this, I don't want to take more time, because I know a lot of there are speakers, and as I told that I expect this program to be interactive, such that whoever is the participants, if is facing any problem or with any government department, because I am also representing here as a director Telecom Center of Excellence, so we'll be taking up those departments for the corrective actions in any existing scheme. With this, I would like to thank, and I think my friend Mr. A.K. Garg, he has also joined. So he has MeitY has a lot of his schemes. So even he can share his schemes and what are the various problems which I expect the members to contribute. With this, I would like to thank and hand over back to Bimal.
So Dr. Garg, please join us. Please give the MeitY perspective.
Pathak ji, and thank you, SHM. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to my startup friends and other community. It is a great pleasure to be here on this platform. You all understand that why we have come on a digital platform is because of the reason that because of the COVID crisis, we are in a period of a complete turnaround as far as things around the world, whether it is with regard to life, whether it's regard to health, or whether it's regard to economy. So what we are looking at is a new normal where a lot of things will change. But one thing is for sure, with this change, the digital technologies will find a lot of application in the future world. Digital technologies related to health, digital technologies with regard to trust, digital technology with regard to addressing the issues of whether it is supply chain or in national perspective or global perspective, or whether it's regard to logistics, whether it is regard to agriculture. In all sectors of economies, digital technologies will find a very key enabling role. It is estimated that the future digital technology will be around $7 trillion in next few years. That gives us an opportunity or a chance to actually experience the new digital world. In this, what is one thing is for sure, that by 2025, when we are talking about a $1 trillion digital economy, it is going to happen. Our services industry will remain the same or will grow by certain basic points. But as far as innovation is concerned, as far as new products are concerned, are we going to be mere consumers or producers of that products and technologies for future? That is a key point to take. In these products, one is for sure is that if we are to be consumers and effectively use these technologies, then the platform that is required is the speed at which you can deliver these digital technologies. Here, the Department of Telecom and the rollout of the 4G and the 5Gs and the fixed band and the fiber is a key enabling role. Pathak ji has talked about this, and I'm sure I will not replicate on this. But the other point is that on this infrastructure, what are we going to roll out? Are we going to roll out the made in India products, or are we going to roll out products made either in the east or in the west from our side? That is the key role. Now, where do we actually look at these solutions if they are to be from made in India? These solutions have to come from our innovative suppliers of such products, and they fortunately or unfortunately happens to be the startup ecosystem of this country. It is said that there are around 27,000 new startups that have grown in the last 2 to 3 years, of which around 10,000 are deep tech startups. These startups had challenges prior to COVID, and they have greater challenges post-COVID. So in my next 5 minutes, I'll take that how is MeitY addressing the pre-COVID as well as the post-COVID challenges that the startups are facing. The key challenges which the startup faces is a facility for him to have an R&D ecosystem where he can develop his technologies, a plug and play facility where he can seamlessly go and install his services, ease of doing business, the market access, and creating an ecosystem which helps him in getting funding from the private or the institutional investors. As far as the plug and play facility or the backup infrastructure is concerned, MeitY has come up with two large-scale schemes, and which I'll going to talk about. The first is the technology incubation and development of entrepreneurs, wherein we have established 51 state-of-art incubators at institutes of higher learning for startups to use deep tech technologies for the societal challenges that we face and have commercial gains out of it. The basic facilities that we provide beside the 3 tiers seed fund is a backup in research and technology infrastructure of an academic or a research institute, the mentorship and the technical expertise with the faculties and the various institutes which have been in the incubation space for quite a number of years, and connect to low-cost manpower in terms of interns that come out of these institutes. These are 51 incubators around the country. The scheme came up in October last year, and we have rolled out all the 51 centers, and details are available at our website, since startups can take advantage. The second part of the TIDE scheme is in regard to getting investments for them to get into the prototype space. There we have created a 150 crore investment fund, and proposals actually have to be routed by these TIDE companies through the incubators, and we actually approve them based on a fixed criteria that we have. The second is that MeitY has the IT, if you remember, the IT industry grew out of the software technology parks of India. These software technology parks of India are at 60 places, most of them in the tier 2 and tier 3 places. In the large metros, they are obviously there, and they were the backbone of the IT services industry. They were also the backbone of providing the basic digital infrastructure as well as a physical infrastructure, and in that context, they have got around a 5 lakh square feet of incubation space. This incubation space we have utilized, or we have crystallized that into a next generation incubation scheme And MIT has come up with the next generation incubation scheme, where this incubation space will be converted into rolling out new tech solutions for the next decade. The scheme is already operational. Details are available on the STPI website. Then, moving from services to product, where the most of our startups have got a space, MIT came up with the National Policy on Software Products in February 2009, where we have come up with a gamut of support schemes, whether it is a software product development fund of 5,000 crore, whether it's a R&D support fund for startups for 500 crores, whether we want to ease the RFP process for where Indian software products can be bought, and we have done a number of them. Post-COVID, we did a very specific game changer challenge that we did. That is around a VC challenge. We all meet on a number of VC solutions, mostly that come out of, mostly that have been developed or are making money from sitting in the west of us. The VC solution is not a state-of-art technology which only someone in the Silicon Valley can make. It can be made by. So we started a VC challenge some 1 month back with a basic provisioning, besides some support of 1 crore to a winner, is that the government will be the first user for first 4 years. A direct access where we actually tweak the procurement policy of the government. And you will be happy to note that we got 1982 applications on that VC challenge. Understanding the success of that VC challenge, we have come up with a challenge scheme where we'll be running a series of challenges for developing products, and where the prerequisite is that the government has to provide the initial market, because that's a big challenge. So that is one thing that actually you have to look out. We have floated a proposal where we are asking someone to actually execute our work from home challenge. The next thing that I want to talk about is the Center of Excellences that MIT has come up. MIT proposes to establish
into the maybe the technology or products for the common man use, or maybe for industrial application. So basic for societal benefits. So if we see our 8 themes, we have divided the areas are one of the electronics, instrumentation, strategic sector, aerospace. Another one is civil infrastructure engineering. Then mining materials, minerals, chemicals and petrochemicals. Even leather also we work. Energy, conventional and non-conventional energies. Ecology, environment, water, ocean sciences. Nutrition, agriculture, biotechnology, and healthcare, pharmaceuticals, biopharmaceuticals, we work. CSIR whole labs, around 38 laboratories of CSIR work into these 8 themes. We have divided currently our work area. So if we see under the instrumentation, electronics and strategic sector, aerospace, we have around 18 labs. One of the labs is situated in Hyderabad, IIC Hyderabad, Indian Institute of Petroleum, National Chemical Laboratory, Advanced Materials in Bhopal, Central Glass Ceramic Research Institute in Calcutta, CMA Central Mechanical Research Institute, then Minerals and Material Institute in Bhubaneswar, National Aeronautical Laboratory in Bangalore, Metallurgical Laboratory in Jamshedpur, SCRC's Structural Engineering Research Institute in Madras, Central Electrical and Electronics Research Institute in Pilani, CSIO, the Scientific Instruments Organization in Chandigarh. Then we have around 4 laboratories exclusively in one exclusively dedicated to the information sciences area. Basically, they are the 4 PI1 laboratory in Bangalore. UDIP is there, one that who basically does the patent mapping. National Physical Laboratories also work in this area, and NISCARE in communication basically, and NISTAD who does in science policy and so on. So these are the 18 labs work under this digital and communication information sciences area. So if we see that earlier my speakers, I think Dr. Garg and Pathak Saab and Vibhuti, they have, I think, very well indicated that we should, like startup is today is very much required to translate any technologies and go to the market for even for societal benefits or maybe for industrial applications. We have to have one, intermediate thing. So startup is a new concept and incubation center. These startup can be gone to the incubation center, that's the government emphasis today. And supply chain management in COVID time is very, very important. So for every, even CSIR also has taken a lot of initiative in supply chain management for medical, for food. Even some of our labs work under the area of food technologies. So we are able to provide the nutritional foods and for the needy people based on their convenience and hygiene to the migrants and so on. So basically, we see startup CSIR is already in 38 laboratory. We see startup almost we are having in incubation center. We have around 10 labs. They are incubating their technology. Even if startup is coming with their own technology, or maybe labs itself are giving their own technologies for translating into the market for the societal benefits as well as for the industries. So these are the briefly I have done. And then in the area of, if we see information technology, CSIR itself has developed its ERP, enterprise planning in the system, and resource planning system. So we basically work today on the ERP. Again, this was started long time back, but again, it is an emphasis to use the ERP. And CSIR has a lot of, some labs who really have the big data sets, and they have a lot of technology in the area of IT. So CSIR, the aim of CSIR is basically information technology related area, if we see, to make the CSIR scientists IT savvy, utilize IT for efficient and effective management of CSIR, showcase available expertise and knowledge in CSIR system, utilize IT to realize economy of scales in common functions in transparent manner, establish a digital document-based decision support system, state-of-art data center. These are the key facilities or key objectives of IT division has. So if we see the major programs of CSIR in the area of IT are basically the IT division is building a scientific knowledge grid, ICT infrastructure and services for CSIR laboratories. The objective of the program basically this program to provide the support to high-end technology in developing scientific management grid solutions to enable the system for e-grid functionality to enhance the productivity of scientists by providing computing facilities to increase pace of R&D activities, to create an enabling environment for network, project implementation and management, to provide ICT infrastructure necessary to manage R&D activities in more efficient and effective manner, to enable collaborative research in virtual multi-location environment, to integrate all laboratories in virtual organization by utilizing ICT-based technologies and infrastructure, to create economy of scales in the operations of CSIR and laboratories to design and adopt state-of-art information and communication technology suiting CSIR needs, then to enable a virtual CSIR campus where distributed researchers perform the same activities they would perform if they are co-located, link all the laboratories into a single computing platform, provide secured access to shared data sets, specialized facilities and instruments, and computational hardware and storage resources, quick access to massive R&D literature generated within the country and elsewhere through access to e-journals, access to massive computing power and storage capacity. For example, in the area of bioinformatics, seismic studies, mathematical modeling, environmental studies, oceanography studies, aerospace, etc., through grid-enabled, open source, specialized state-of-art application software. So IT division also maintain a in-house these website to work within the CSIR laboratory, and this kind of facility is exclusively within 15 laboratories. This is a network. So some of our laboratories have developed in the technologies basically in the area of EPC, digital technology, agro-based instrumentation and smart farming, biomedical instrumentation and healthcare devices, instrumentation for defense and security, indigenization of sensors and systems. Then they provide the support to the airline industry with indigenous development of many integral parts for landing. So if we see the agriculture, how the CSIR is developing the instruments for the agriculture grown for efficient farming. So plantation like arecanut are about the 1,000 feet high or more. So scarcity of the skilled labor for spraying at those heights. So problem is going to multiply like post-COVID, and crop monitoring, seedling and spraying using drones. Drones CSIR has developed for various applications. So this is one of the technology developed by CSIR. And CSIR is also working in the area of precision agriculture. So mobile control storage chamber for fruits and vegetables, multi-purpose electrostatic disinfection machines. Now for COVID applications, CSIR is developing. Then pre-harvest instrumentation have been developed, pesticide detection and control, molecular imprinted polymer-based nanosensor for detection and removal of pesticides. So these are the, and this is even greenhouse emissions, and it's in urban setting. This is also one of the technology of CSIR. So precision agriculture is today's important mission CSIR is working, and this is based on the CSIR internal technology using the within the even agriculture labs and IT based lab. So basically CSIR is also making the some model they have suggested, and through basically this for develop these technology need to be transferred to different needy people, needy organizations, and this with the help of MSMEs. So CSIR also has the MOU with MSME for taking the CSIR technology for the socio-economic application. And post-COVID period in the area of for the rural India and farmers. So the use of this technology basically to increase the productivity, permitting for improved agriculture adaptation to effect of the climate change, assist in reduction of pollution, assist to improve the farmers' economical positions, rural industrialization and employment generation. in the area of biomedical instrumentation and healthcare, CSR has developed the paramedical first aid drone ambulance for cardiac patient, non-invasive devices for the monitoring of blood sugar, blood pressure, etc., temperatures, advanced medical devices, dialysis, ventilators. This is CSR right now, it is working on. And microwave devices, CSR is working on plasma, UV sterilization chambers for hospital. So presently, these are the really technologies CSI is working on, and these are actually post-COVID period. Even some of the surgical instruments also CSR is started for the testing of COVID or so on. Then microwave devices for healthcare, CSR has developed several microwave. I think you may be knowing that Siri Pilani and IITR, of the two labs, have developed the devices for the antibiotics in the milk, as well as adulteration for the in the oil by the IITR Lucknow. These are also based on the sensors. And so many technology for the CSR technology for the defense and security purpose also CSR has developed some of the technology. I said that seismic system and for aviation applications, so on. So these are the only, I have just given the updates and very brief where CSR is really working. If you need the number of technologies the CSR has developed, we can share with you, and then we can work on those things. And for your information, I just want to inform that we have also empaneled Finovista for the CSR technology transfer, and in the different areas, one of the IT and other even areas of the our CSR domain. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Meenakshi. Indeed, it's good to hear about the CSIR initiative on the technology, and a lot of technologies are available for the transfer.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
with this, yes, sir. So we like to invite Rahul Kulshrestha from Geeta to talk about the Geeta funding scheme. Yes, Rahul, please.
Yes. Thank you, Vimal. I was just adjusting my screen. Actually, I was not able to see. Okay. Thank you, Vimal. And also, I would like to thank Dr. Meenakshi Singh from CSR, Mr. R.K. Pathak from DOT, and also Dr. Garg from MITI. Here, I would like to tell you some of the funding opportunities which are there on the Geeta platform, especially for collaborative industrial R&D programs, along with the global partners. So here you need to have a global partnership for getting this funding. So before going to the core program, I just wanted to give a little bit brief about Geeta. Geeta basically is a not-for-profit Section 8 company which is jointly promoted by the Technology Development Board, that is Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, and Confederation of Indian Industry. So how Geeta has started? So already we have seen that in India, our GDP, R&D contribution from means either from the industry or the government is only approximately 0.8%. So there was a need where we wanted to encourage industry and especially private investment to put more investment in R&D sector. Also, there was a need where Indian industry need to have a partner where the technology can be supported. So they need to have a global partner collaboration platform where with the help of them, they can jointly do some R&D projects and actually develop the capability and also skills and also develop the infrastructure required for the industrial R&D. There was as I said, there is a poor collaboration between Indian and global companies in joint R&D and technology partnership. And earlier there was no mode where government can give a direct incentive to the private industry. So we need to have a flexible mechanism. So with all this requirement in 2011, with the recommendation of Prime Minister Council on Trade and Industry, there was an incorporation of government arm's length entity under PPP mode, which is called as the Global Innovation and Technology Alliance, GITA. So GITA is basically, you can see, is guided by a very strong leadership from industry and government director. Also, we have a chairman, Mr. Vikram Kirloskar, who is actually a vice chairman for Toyota Kirloskar Motor. We have Krish Gopalakrishnan from industry representative, who is co-founder for Infosys. We have Mr. Dev Kapuria from High-Tech Gear. Similarly, from CII, we have DGCII. We have representation similarly for Tata Chemicals, Godrej, and Mr. Ranjan Das from CII. Vis-a-vis, we have our government directors, Dr. Neeraj Sharma, who is Secretary TTP, Mr. S.K. Vashne, who is heading International Bilateral Cooperation Division, Mr. Piyush Srivastava from MSME, and also we have representation from DPIIT. So you can see GITA is guided by a very strong board between industry and government. So the vision is very clear. What I said, GITA has been made with a vision to strengthen the Indian innovation ecosystem through supporting and enabling technology and innovation-driven enterprises. Our missions are very, we wanted to catalyze India's recognition as a key innovator and provider of technology at the global level, to inspire Indian industry community to recognize R&D and development as also deployment, basically, as a key and sustainable driver for individual and collective business growth. Also, our mission is to enhance risk appetite. So basically, GITA has been made where there is a R&D risk, because you cannot get funds, especially from bodies like bank, where there is a industrial R&D risk. So GITA has been made to support industrial R&D risk, also to create a vibrant skilled workforce who can help in the industrial R&D, and to become an enabler of transfer of technology, world-class technology between different countries and India. Next slide. So this is what we can see is the mandate of GITA. First is definitely a funding. GITA extend financial support in the form of grant, conditional grant, in order to promote industrial R&D, innovation, technology acquisition program, and international S&T collaborative effort. Second mandate, we have 4 pillars. So capacity building is our second pillar, where GITA actually catalyzes innovation and empowers ideas by offering specialized information, matchmaking between the partners, IP protection in the area of technology design and IPR management. There is the third pillar is strengthening ecosystem. So GITA is involved in technical, financial, strategic policy, research and advocacy to industry, research institution, state and central government, and offer global networking platform. GITA is also mandated not only because though it is a mandate of Department of Science and Technology, but it is mandated to facilitate the implementation of various innovative and revolutionary and technologically industrial research and development projects worldwide. So we have other ministry also on board, like MITI, Dr. Garg for international program. Already we are there. We have Ministry of Commerce for some of the programs. We are getting funding from different ministries. What is the sectors you can see Geeta is covering almost all the sectors, starting from agriculture, advanced manufacturing, advanced material, affordable healthcare, automotives, capital and goods sectors, biotechnology, chemical, defense and aerospace, clean tech, ESDM, ICT, oil and gas, pharmaceuticals, smart cities, water. So you can see because we have different country collaboration based on the importance between the countries, based on the country expertise. We generally focus on some of the sectors between India, like we have India, Canada, India, Israel. So some of the sectors are covered in each of this call. So this is where actually Geeta funding starts. So Geeta do not enter into the funding where there is a basic applied research generally which is carried out by the academia. Geeta only fund industrial R&D research where the proof of concept is available. You can see where basically from the TRL level 3 where there is some proof of concept already available, and we support up to the prototype development stage. So generally in a duration of 2 years of development, you can start from a proof of concept to the prototype stage, but our focus will be the prototype should be ready for the commercialization. These are Geeta program portfolio. So right now we have a main mandate, which is bilateral program. We have 8 countries right now: India, Canada, Finland, Israel, Italy, Korea, Spain, Sweden, UK. These are the 8 countries where we have a bilateral industrial R&D programs with Department of Science and Technology. BT has also funded, and in Korea we have Ministry of Commerce who is also involved there. We had in past also means facilitated many important programs, which is a national program where you need not to be and to have any collaboration with the international partners. Like very important fund was Technology Development Fund, which was started by DRDO, Defense Research and Development Organization. Here we were actually funding for indigenization of the technology which are required by Army, Navy, Air Force, and we used to give a grant, a pure grant of 10 crore rupees, which is 90% of the. Still, the program is going on. You can actually visit TDF website, which is on tdf.gov.in. We had a program with Ministry of Heavy Industry, which was specially for the capital and goods sector. And this was for purely for the technology acquisition of a fund program where industry can actually acquire some of the technology from outside, and also from India, also some of the partners, especially for the capital and goods sector, where it can help for the upgradation of their present facilities. There was a program which was initially started by DPIIT, which is under Ministry of Commerce right now, which got transferred to MSME. So this program was Technology Acquisition and Development Fund. It is still it has been merged with a CLSS scheme in MSME, where we were funding to small startups and also SMEs, especially for development of technology or acquisition of technology in the green efficiency area. Apart from that, we have a scientist exchange program, which is basically for academic, where between India and Taiwan, where the scientists from India and Taiwan can do collaboration projects, which will be co-funded by the Indian government and Taiwan government. We have a multilateral partnership with, we have a MOU with Commonwealth countries. We have involved in EN and Inno-Indigo policy in the past. So what is the Geeta role? Geeta actually help in the formulation of program construct and guidelines. We do the promotions of all partnership development activities. Once there is application submission, we have a panel of experts, full of experts from industry and academia who do fair and transparent evaluations. Then we will be awarding the project. Geeta also monitor project generally for the 2 years after the award, not only monitor, the experts committee actually mentor the project for 2 years till the completion of the projects. So this is a typical construct of a bilateral program structure where we give fund. So you can see actually there is a lead industry required from Indian side. Similarly, there is a lead industry required from the counterpart countries like Israel, Sweden, and you can have a partnership with academia or R&D institutions, which is not mandatory, but you can have it, and jointly if you are proposing any project. So DST, MOCI right now will give 50% of the fund on the Indian side. So whatever will be the cost of the project between like India and the counterpart country, and it will be co-funded by the Indian government and also the counterpart government to their industry up to the 50% mark. What is the eligibility? So as we have said, this is to encourage Indian company. So the company should be registered as a commercial company under Company Act 1956. It should have at least 51 stake of and means owned by the Indian citizen. The INPL should have the required expertise and team capacity to manage the proposed project. We do not encourage sole proprietorship and partnership firm under this program, and we want the company headquarters and owned outside India and their subsidiary in India or vice versa are not eligible to receive funding from DST GITA under this platform. So these are the eligibility. What is the process flow? I'm just going to, we launch a program every year with each countries. So it will be generally open for 3 to 4 months where you can do some matchmaking with the industrial partners in the international countries. GITA also help you with the matchmaking platform. We do a lot of promotions, joint promotions, partnership development activities, and we handhold the industry to help them how they can actually apply under this program. Once there is a receipt of application, there will be an initial screening going on between the two countries. There will be an evaluation done by expert committee. Then there will be a joint evaluation between India and the counterpart countries, and jointly they recommend some project. After which we go for a due diligence process. We generally visit along with the pool of experts, technical and techno-financial experts. Once the due diligence committee approves such project, it will go for an agreement signing. And then based on some milestones, we generally have some milestones. Based on these milestones, the fund will be reimbursed, because this is a reimbursement mode. You have to spend first, and then we will be giving 50% of the fund. You can see this is the timeline. Generally, we have a launch of call for 4 to 5 months. Evaluation takes 3 to 4 months, and generally signing of agreement depends upon 2 to 3 months. There is a project duration development stage for 24 months. So generally, a cycle takes 30 to 36 months till the closure of technical development stage. These are the financial structure of already existing program with GITA. You can see Israel is the biggest program where you can get 50% of the fund, which is up to 8 crores. So if the cost of the project on Indian side is up to 16 crores, you can get 8 crores. Canada, you can get up to 1.5 crores. Similarly, in UK, Spain, Korea, you can get up to 3.2 crores. Italy, Finland, and Sweden similarly. So with each country, we have defined some of the sector area, which are general area only: energy, ICT, healthcare, electric vehicles. So each country, and it is very much open also. We generally look for some novelty in these projects. It is not for a trading kind. The support is not for the trade kind of thing where you are just bringing technology from outside and selling in India. It is a joint collaboration project where we need a complementary strength between India and the Indian industry and the counterpart industry from the other countries. So these are our global strategic partners. You can see from Canada, we have NRC, IREP from Canadian government. We have Business Finland from Finland. We have II Israel Innovation Authority, who is from the Ministry of Commerce Ministry of Economics from Israel. We have Italian partner who is Ministry of Economics. We have CDTI Spain, which is counterpart agency for Spain. We have for Sweden we have Innova. For UK we have Innovate UK. Right now it is named as UKRI. Korea we have three partners: KTEP, KIAT, and National Research Foundation of Korea from two ministries, which is MSIT and also Energy Ministry from Korea. So you can see this is the journey which is up to 31st March only. It has been added. We have awarded till now 78 projects in different sectors. We have closed 25 success stories. We have launched 31 calls. We have 8 countries partners, almost working in the 19 focus area. Right now, our projects are going on in almost 18 states. We have given a fund commitment from government side up to 165 million USD, and we have attracted the similar 2 times of the fund from the industry. So Gita also have a platform which is called as a Gita Innovation Exchange Platform, which actually helps the industry for matchmaking. You can actually visit our website and also register there. It can be used for a technology transfer or technology acquisition platform. So we are collaborating with all our global partners from where we can actually showcasing all the technologies which are required for offers. Similarly, the seekers can also, whoever are looking for some technology collaborations, they can also register on these platforms. And this platform is basically helping you in all the phase, you can say in all TRL level, starting from the idea stage, proof of concept, prototype, validation, pilot, and scale, and reaching to the market. We are also bridging the market access from the outside countries, and similarly from India to those countries. So who is it for? So all means even the startups, SMEs, large company can actually apply for this program, and also they can actually register for GIC platform. Investors, VCPs, angel investors can do it. IP specialists who want IP service or who wanted to give IP service, they can also register here. And academic research institution, as they can be a partners, they can also register here to search for industrial partner for collaborative R&D, and whoever is the aspiring innovators. So you can, what you have to do next is you can visit to the Gita website, where you can actually register under Gita Innovation Exchange platform based on your interest. And also we have right now 2 open calls, which is with India, Canada, and India, Spain, which is right now going on. You can also go through that program and apply. This is our website, www.gita.org.in. You can visit to our website. If you have any question, I'm ready to answer it. Also, you can write it to this email ID, what I have mentioned here, for any questions or any related to our program. Thank you, Vimal, and thank you others for listening patient.
Thank you, Rahul, for giving us good presentation and the funding scheme for the collaborative R&D. Indeed, it's a need of our. We always say under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, where we want to develop the capability of Indian companies, and when these Indian companies are doing collaborative R&D, it's actually good for the mutual partners. So with this, now I'm starting my presentation.
Thank you.
Before that, after my presentation, we are going to have the Q&A session where the speakers will be answering the questions. So the participants feel free to ask any kind of questions. I understand that most of the time we always have the questions regarding the funding and the people availability. So we are starting now. So I am starting. So can you put me on the presentation mode, Asif?
Yeah, I've given you the presentation, right?
Yeah.
And one question from Ms. Remha R. Regarding the presentation shared by Geeta in the chat
So
box.
can we, Ms. Remha, can we have the question after my presentation, so that we will have the dedicated session for Q&A? Yeah. Basically, we are a project management company, and we are also in technology transfer management and the consulting with the international collaboration. Basically, our services are divided into 4 parts. So if any agency or institutions want to have their India representation, we are providing the services. In the project management consultancy, we are doing a lot of project implementation on ground. In the capacity building, we are doing a lot of research, compendium, DPR, etc. In the technology management, we are in panel with the CSIR for licensing their technology to the industry. And we are catering various sectors like energy and environment, clean cooking, cyber security, industry 4.0, development finance, or rather I'll say blended finance is the new trend which is emerging. And we are also assisting the social enterprises to grow. And being Finovista as a PMC company, we are working with the development agency, government agencies, foundations, R&D organization, industry, and startup and spin-off. I usually say India need to create a spin-off rather than a startup. The services which we are providing, so we are providing in-country representation. We have recently engaged with the Modern Energy Cooking Services, which is a DFID UK funded program. Transitioning from the biomass to the clean cooking is a long-term project, and we are in-country partner for this. Under this project management consulting, we are working with the Ministry of MSME for the social enterprise development. On the capacity building, we are doing a lot of training programs. We are doing some training program for the MSME ministry. We have did some compendium for the startups and incubators for the GIZ. Under the technology management, we are working with the CSIR for licensing of their technologies. And we work with the development agencies, government agencies, corporate foundations, R&D organization, industry, startup, and spin-off in various domains. We have already covered.
Vimal, sorry to interrupt again. You can just, when you're saying which all entities or government agency you're working with, you can specifically add about how startups and SMEs, you can facilitate their interface with them, because that is what they are more interested in knowing. Thank you.
I'm coming to that. Coming to that. So this is the most important engagement which the today's workshop is also focused. So we are in panel with the CSIR for promotion and marketing of the CSIR knowledge base for across all 38 labs. So here the important point, the CSIR wanted us to provide the end-to-end services to the industry, licensing of the technology. Most importantly, SME or a startup, they don't know what technology is suitable to me. This technology, can I implement? Do I have the capability? So we are providing the end-to-end support, and we call it the mentoring support. And CSIR also create lot of startups under this these schemes. So this will be the perfect example when startup or SME, when already technology is available, why you are reinventing the wheel, developing the same technology? It is easily and cheaply available with the CSIR, and then you can save a lot of cost, time. Ultimately, time has a money. And in the recent COVID era, we saw that in reality how the entire scenario changes or not. So right from the scouting, right from the evaluation of the technology, identifying the market, we are doing a lot of outreach promotion. We are arranging the finance also, which is the most important. Today's session is focused on, and then we transfer, and we are also providing the post mentoring support. Now this we are also assisting the social enterprises startup through the MSME ministry. So MSME ministry has signed the agreement with us through the PPDC Agra, which is a product and process development center for cooperation in convergence of social enterprises for the development of SMEs, under which we are providing a lot of supports to these people through the capacity building, technology transfer, and arranging the development finance. I use the word why I am using the development finance, not normal finance. Now this section is very important. This section is divided into two parts. Primarily the government funding available for the startup and SME, and in the recent time, what are the fundings available for the startups and SME, especially the especially the collateral free loans. Normally, when you go to any government, any agency, they will be funding TRS 6 to 9 when they are the industry. So basically, up to 5 is the role of academia and R&D lab, where these people are getting funds. So if an industry want to avail the government funding, or they want to do some kind of R&D, they should be focusing on these brackets only. So that's why he said, if you want to develop something and just see with somebody, some labs, is the technology is available with some institutions, so simply you can acquire that. It's cheap, time saving. This is the most important slide, how the funding mechanism happens across all value chain of the companies. So basically, when you are at the very idea stage, VC is not going to provide a funding support, or bank is not going to provide the funding support. So for the idea stage, only the government is going to provide the, so only the self funding is going to provide the support. And if you are moving slightly to the POC level on all, where the ideal funding would be the government funding, or family and friends is the key for you to success at this stage. And for the development stage, of course, some angels start showing the interest that yes, you are doing good, let me invest money and all. These are the area where we always struggle day in and day out. Why I'm not getting funding? Why I'm not getting funding? Why this bankers are not supporting? So banker will be only going to support when you are at the maturity level, when you are going to show the sales, consistent sales, or say growth sales and profitability. Before that, the VC is going to provide the support. VC is ready to take the risk because bankers are not going to take the risk. So this is the most important when we think about funding our venture. This slide I really like. There is the person who is designing some structure, and he's saying that I am developing a wheel and not getting the VC fund. This happens across time. Of course, this need to see from both sides whether my idea is right, whether the funding is right or not. So this happens from the both angle. When I always say the banker have to understand the industry and industry have to understand the banker, or vice versa. So for the funding agencies and the role of a startup has to bridge the gap first, so the funding will flow naturally, and more funding will come to this sector. This is the structure. I don't want to go too much into that, but yes, for any kind of support when you're looking for, we should actually go for the company registered, MCA registered company, whether it's a OPC, LLP, or private limited or limited company. It's easy to secure the fund for the industry. I have already covered mostly into this. This Rahul has already spoken, so I will not going to take too much time. But yes, adding the Rahul, we have also supported some of the programs under the MIghty, and DBT also have the funding scheme for the biotechnology related companies. So the bilateral program is one of the most important program nowadays, considering that funding is available by both the government, both government looks at what is there for my country. It is important that both sides are providing the complementarity effort. Like to give an example, say Indian are good in software and say Koreans are good in hardware, and both of them are not meeting each other and not developing a mobile phone. So why not Indians should focus on development of software and Koreans are in hardware, and both of you can develop a mobile phone and get the funding. This is the one of the important point when we talk about that developing the capability of Indian company. This is the one of the most important programs which government is pushing, and a lot of ministries are showing the interest into this program. And typically it's a grant and conditional grant ranging from 1.5 crores to 2.5 crores, where 50% of the funding is available. So it is basically a kind of 1/4 by each partner, 25 by Indian industry, 25 Indian government, 25 by UK government, and 25 by UK industry. So industry from India or UK are just taking 50% of the 25% of the risk of entire project. So it's a very much viable and all to pursue this. This is the India-Israel Innovation Fund that Rahul has already spoken. I like to just add one component over here. Most of the time in a government funding scheme, we always say somebody is not available to help, or the site is not working and I'm not able to understand the funding mechanism. If you see, I have put one screenshot on the right, where in each and every Gita funding page, this kind of a screenshot is available. So you see all the possible contacts are available on the website. So if you want to understand something, you can simply dial on to those people. You can write a mail to these people. You can visit to the office, and similarly, your counterpart companies can also do. So this example is from the Israel page. So you see the Israel agency's name or the contact person name is also mentioned. So this is the most important when you plan, understand the funding modalities, meet the people, talk to the people, talk to the funding agency. This will help you securing fund in a better way. This is another interesting point. Funding is currently going on. I like to talk on this. So this is the India-EU joint call on local energy system, where the government from India and government from EU is giving 5 to 6 million euro per project. It is on 3+3 model, which means 3 organizations from India and 3 organizations from Europe are eligible. It should be led in India. It should be led by the academia, and a startup and SME can become a partner. And we are talking about the local energy system under this. Earlier I mentioned anything toward the end of the TRL is always advantageous. And here the project duration expected is 42 months. And industry can get up to 50% funding, which most of the government has started doing now. Quickly, I will talk about this. Since we have already talked about the bilateral mechanism, so this is another program which we are doing with the Indo-US program, where funding is 2.5 crores, same modalities. Again, it's a French government program in the same modalities. Here, it's a 2+2 model, so 2 organizations from India and 2 organizations from France. This is another slide where it is important for our academia people. The government is giving a lot of money to the basic research and advanced research, where the researchers are expected to develop a technology up to level 5 and 6. Afterward, industry is going to pick. So if a researcher is doing a research in academic lab, they should be focusing on some technology which is going to impact the society, or it is relevant for the industry, so they can start picking up. And ultimately it's a success for the researchers, success for the labs, success for the government, success for the industry, which everybody will be happy with this. Technology Development Fund, we all already spoken about. So it's 9 crore, 9 crore up to 100% funding. I will not talk too much on this now since we already covered. This is the another scheme by MITI, which is relevant for the large corporate to get 4 to 6% production link incentive for 5 years. And often we say that India need to invite companies, or say we should give incentive to our companies. So here the government is actually providing for the mobile phone and electronic component related company, and this fund is available for the capital investment, and they are looking for a consolidated revenue of 10,000 crores, 100 crores, 50 crores in various categories. This is another scheme of MITI, which is recently launched and relevant for the group. Here, you are eligible to get 25% incentive on capital expenditure, which includes all items related to capital. And any company, including the sole proprietorship partnership, are eligible, primarily focusing on the electronic manufacturing sector. And the investment range can go up to 5 crores to 100 crores, 1,000 crores, and with the special encouragement to the domestic players. This is another scheme of MITI, which is they are calling it the EMC. And like to mention this, most of the ministries are actually started funding through the CFC route, that is Common Facility Center route, where the 10 group of 5, 10, 20 companies come together. They can create a common facility, and in that common facility, this industry can actually come and avail the facility. Under this route, funding is possible up to 90%, and there is no limit. 10 crores, 20 crores, 30 crores funding is possible. So this is one of the good example where and I'll say the government is promoting a lot. So we should start thinking about the promoting or setting up the common facility center and avail the funding. Under this, eligibility is going to the government-led organizations. So I will be finishing in another 5 minutes on opening for the Q&A. This is the high risk, high reward. Again, it's a program by the SCRB, Science and Engineering Research Board, where there is no funding limit available, where the academy is going to lead and a startup, or the individual researcher can join from the colleges and all. It's good for the startups, or good for the people who are studying. A scheme related to R&D funding, industry can jointly work with the academia, get up to 50% of the funding for the industry-led R&D project, again managed by the SCRB. This point I like to talk more. So this is the scheme by the Technology Development Board. I'm sorry, I missed the word. So it's the TDB funding scheme. They call it the Project Finance Scheme, under which any patent-related technology is there. Technology means the know-how is there, and if you want to convert into commercial operation, the government is going to give 50% of the funding. 50% you have to raise from the bank through your capital and all. They will give you the interest-based loan. So it is simple interest. They call it a soft loan. Interest rate is simple. It's a 5%, and it's for 5 years. And 6 monthly repayment. It's a good for any company that every month you don't have to pay. So you have a sufficient time for collect the money and pay back the money to them. And this is one of the most promising fund. One of the good success is the Shanta Biotech. When the Shanta Biotech they started interacting with the TDB, the turnover was 100 crores. It reached to 3,600 crores when they sold their company to the Sanofi Pasteur. So they have developed. They are the popular company developing the vaccine for hepatitis. Earlier, it was costing 1,500 a dose. They have reduced to 100 rupees a dose. So this kind of project they have funded. Again, this is now we are moving toward the banking side of fund. So you know that if you go to any bank, they will ask a debt equity ratio of 2:1. This means that if you want to get a loan of 70 rupees, 30 rupees you have to put in from your equity side, and bank will put 70 rupees. So total project cost is 100 rupees. So that's why debt equity ratio, which means the more still for the industry, most of the funding is coming from the banking. And of course, for the getting the fund, the bank from the bank, it's such a own challenges and own level when they going to fund. But still, this is a very good to explore when you are reaching to some certain level, you are achieving the profitability. So they will give the 2 crores of loan with the non-collateral free. So here the collateral free means you don't have to give property as a collateral. You have to give the project asset as a collateral or the current assets. So you don't have to bring anything additional from that. And NBFCs started also covering. So 18 NBFCs are also covered. This is another scheme which is extension of that 2 crores funding is available during the COVID period. Most importantly, when you go to any bank and they have to prepare the credit appraisal memo, short form is CAM. Now they have developed the online tool, so you can fill the data. System will automatically populate your eligibility. It's a very good initiative. Possibly the decision will be faster. This is another scheme which is recently launched. It's 3 lakhs crores. The government is talking a lot about that they are supporting the MSME, where they are giving 20% of the outstanding loan as on 29th February. As an additional fund without any collateral. So consider your SME and you have a 20 crores of exposure as on February, you are eligible to get 4 crores of loan and for that you don't have to give any collateral. The government is taking care of that, and most importantly, it is 8% interest rate. Have moratorium. Moratorium is ranging of, I think, up to 6 months to 1 year, and the loan is going up to 3 years period. It's a very good scheme, and you should not be classified as an NPA under this category. And another funding opportunity can be, you can go, lot of large corporate foundations started giving the fund for the social causes kind of project. So Tata Trust is the one example where they're giving a lot of fund. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, BPCL, they are giving 25 lakhs for funding. ONGC started giving fund to the startup somehow. So with this, I am winding up my presentation. So now the floor will be open for Q&A session. Yes, so hope we have covered what people wanted. So we can have the Q&A session.
So you can possibly go to the chat window and see some people have sent their questions in the chat window. Start by answering those questions first. And thereafter, if people can, they can either give the question in the chat window, or they can message floor, and they will be given the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Yes. So I am going with the first chat. So it's a TFSC. So we will. So I think the ministry is the right agency for go for that. So we will be passing this information to the ministry, and most of the people like about the Gita presentation. Of course, it's very relevant for the industrial R&D, and if somebody is thinking for the collaborative industrial project, so it is best way to go for the collaborative R&D. And then Pathak sir is requested for the sharing of the PPT. Surely we are going to share the PPT with all the people. And for the CGT SME scheme, so this is the pure debt based on the risk which bank is taking. They are not asking for any collateral. In any kind of government loan, you have to provide the collateral security for availing the loan if you are a SME on a small companies. The rate of interest is nowadays, it's a very mechanical. It's based on your credit rating, which every bank or say lending agency have the fixed model. So they will rate your account, and then they allocate some rate of interest. Nowadays, it's not like a person driven system, person driven thing. I understand it's for the startup it's a high, but of course it depends on the various factors, and RBI closely monitoring this. And what I understand, for the any scheme based loan, MCLR plus 3% is the upper cap. And then so Mr. Jai Krishna asked, the CSAS fund is available only if only VC received in past. So it is not restricted that the VC received. So I mentioned earlier also, when you go to any banker, they always see the bank is still the biggest source of any industry, or say industry is the banking channel. The banking channel invests a lot of money, so VC is not required. But yes, you have to ensure the debt equity ratio is maintained when you are going for a borrowing. And your capital can come from the VC route, or it can come through your own contribution or family or friends, etc. And then we have got the innovation voucher program with SME. Yes. So I understand the Tamil Nadu government has started the innovation voucher concept, which is actually interesting instrument, I will say, which it is very popular in UK and European countries. Now Indian government is also trying. GIZ has worked a lot with the Tamil Nadu government, and an innovation voucher is, I personally feel, it's one of the good scheme which nowadays this international agencies are thinking. If I'll add quickly what is the innovation voucher for the audience. So innovation voucher, this agency will approve your project, and based on that they will give some amount of credit. You can take those credit to specified research institutions and get the services equivalent amount from those institutions. Yes.
So if there are no questions, we can request Mr. Pathak to say something towards the ends if he wants to say something. Okay, if there are no more questions, no inputs, then we can close this, and we will continue to have this kind of sessions or meetings in the future, and we'll be announcing it in the SME group, whatever we are planning to do. And we are open to receive inputs. Okay.
Commander Vibhuti, just wanted to add one more scheme which is relevant, and then possibly for the next session we will be focusing. So most of the people when registered, they have said that they wanted to know about the IP funding scheme. So there are some patent filing funding schemes are there. Popular scheme currently going on with the MSME ministry, where they are giving up to 1 lakh rupees for the approved patent for domestic, 3 lakhs for international, and for the trademark they are giving 10,000 per trademark. And eligibility are MSME. Now the MSME definition is also broadened, so most company can actually get the benefit. And next time we will be going to talk about the IP and related opportunity, whether it's a funding, whether it's IP landscaping, etc.
Okay, thank you very much everyone for having participated and joined our session. I look forward to seeing you participate in future also. Thank you.